Before we begin, I'd just like to say that the following tweaks work for me. They should work for you, but just in case there is a typo or your hardware doesn't like it, then please make a boot environment snapshot using your favorite tool. And in this case, GhostBSD is installed with Bechtel or BECTL. So sudo Bechtel create, and you can call this anything you want. Say, for instance, before -sound tweak. Just you can call it whatever you want. Just put your password in, and done. And so just to check that it's been created, there we go. So if anything doesn't go right or it doesn't for whatever it is, you can restore that at boot time to before you actually tweaked anything. The GhostBSD system is pretty much ready to go out of the box for whatever you want it to. But it has some defaults which perhaps you might want to tweak if you want to use it in a studio or you need more precise sound. So if you put sysctl hw.snd.latency, and it will show you the default is 2. Now we can lower that, so we'll just copy that over and paste that in, and we're going to set it to, we'll set it to 0, so there's no latency. And the next tweak we're going to do is syscontrol or sysctl kern.timecounter.allowed deviation, and the default is 5. So like the latency one, we just need to bring it down a bit. So sysctl, paste that in, and equals, we'll bring it down to 0 again. And my understanding, the reason why we're doing this is, say for instance, I could be wrong on this, of course. Say for instance, your system will set out a bunch of IRQs, and if these two are not set to 0, then your system was like, if the sound playing or you're doing something with sound, like again, I'm completely wrong, but your sound will do whatever it needs to do, while all your IRQs are they're building up in the background. So, say for instance, it will then process the bunch of IRQs, but if you set to 0, each IRQ that comes along will get seen to. So it's like it's not delaying your system or creating a little pause or whatever it is for your sound processing. Is that right? I don't know. But it'll speed up audio or make audio a little bit less glitchy on a high load system. And the latency one, say like an application that can't handle or doesn't have a buffer, setting it latency to 0 will ask for the smallest possible buffer in the program. Like a player, say for instance MPV, it will ask for the shortest buffer, and it's about close to real time if the application isn't real time aware. So it's kind of like it reduces the delay. Am I talking hogwash? Well, I probably am, but in this case, things should run smoother for your audio, especially if your system is doing other stuff. So we're reducing it from 5 to 0. And like I say, these work for me, and I've noticed that especially audio editing is a lot smoother than it was. The next one we're doing is sysctl hw.usb.uaudio.buffer_ms, and the default is 4. So we want to reduce this. We won't put this to 0. We're going to put this down to 2. So we want a tiny little pause so we don't perhaps overwhelm the system. And with these, you should notice, like I say, it's really dependent on your own hardware. You should notice a slight improvement if your system was like glitching a bit. I used to get something similar when I was audio editing in Caden Live. I'd have the audio track and doing the video, and things were getting pretty get a bit choppy. And I made these alterations, and things feel a lot smoother. So putting them as sysctl or syscontrol sort of like commands in your terminal to test whether your system is stable. And if things do seem to have improved, running the thing that you want to run or doing the things that you want to do, you could make these more permanent. And if you put them in the sysctl.conf file in your etc directory, so edit your sysctl.com file, and we'll put them in the top here. So really, if we just paste in or just type in what we put into the terminal, making sure there's no spelling mistakes, of course, and that might be the killer thing. So once that's done, your changes should be permanent next time you boot up. The next thing we're going to try is we're going to get a bit perfect thing for your audio. Now you don't have to do this, and maybe the previous tweak is all you need. I mean, you might need this, you might not need it. What this basically will do is it won't process any of your sound signals. So if your application that you're using doesn't process, then I don't know how it would affect your sound. It probably it might be all right, but it might not be. But say something like, I don't know, I mean, I don't use this myself, but Jack. I know Jack can process sounds itself. So what you'd be doing if you didn't do this tweak would be, it'd be processing it, then Jack would be processing it, and it might slow things down a little. So by disabling this or stopping the processing from the sound signal source, it would go through Jack, and Jack itself would be the only one to be doing the processing. Does that make sense? Kind of make sense. So it would speed things up a little bit. I mean, this one may not produce any results that are beneficial, but it might. So give it a try and see if it does. And if it does, we'll see how it goes. So to find out your sound device as such, we put cat /dev/SND stat, and in this particular case, we've got PCM0 as the only viable thing. Sometimes you might get PCM1, PCM2, PCM3, etc., and you'd find out which one is the default for your system. And you put sysctl dev dot PCM.0. Remember, you could put 1, 2, 3, and 4. It depends on what your default device is. In this case is 0. So we put 0 here. Dot play dot vchans. And the default is 1. So we need to turn this off. So we'll just put equals 0. Next, we're going to sysctl dev.pcm.0.bitperfect, and the default is 0, so it's off, but we just put it on, equals 1, there we go, and then that's it. And for something like audio going through Jack, it should speed things up. You could test it now, and if it works for you, brilliant. And again, we'll make the changes permanent if it does. We'll just put it into the sysctl.com file. We're underneath where we made the other changes. So just type out what we've already done. And bear in mind, if this works, when you type them in the terminal, then you know it's safe to put it here to make sure your spelling is right. Then that's it. These might make a difference to you. If you're doing, I mean, GhostBSD is a pretty great FreeBSD out of the box. So yeah, these tweaks might help you if you're using GhostBSD in a studio type setup where, I don't know, timing or performance is essential. Like for me, the first tweaks made a difference when it came to audio editing with Kdenlive. And the second set of tweaks might help you if, say, for instance, you're using audio mixing. I don't know. Let me know down below if I've been talking out of the back of my neck, or if indeed these tweaks do help you. I'll be interested to know. And if you found this video useful, then please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you give more than one of my videos a thumbs up, then why not subscribe? And if you do subscribe, please hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, which I attempt to get one video every week. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This and every other video on my channel has been made using FreeBSD and open source software.